Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you might be, and welcome to the first ever episode of Pomelo Pitch Deck, which we'll be doing here for at least round one and potentially longer with any of the projects that want to join us from the first season of Pomelo. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to meet the projects up close and personal. We're going to find out, what they're all about and, what they plan to use this funding for. So if you missed it, actually last night, I did a GenPool spotlight with Daniel Keys, and we talked about the power of quadratic funding and how this whole system is set up to basically increase funding for a variety of projects in the EOS and EOS IO space, which is pretty cool. So today I'm excited because it's the first episode, number one. Number two, I have Seth here, which I've actually had the pleasure of working with closely on a few different projects over the years. And even though I'm off busy doing other things, Seth and his team over at Boid have been just stepping it up time and time again to try to make the ecosystem a better place. You might know about Boid and what it does. You might have also heard about EOS PowerUp.io, which came out of the Eden on EOS elections. And we're here to talk about two proposals that the guys associated with this team have put together. Primarily Boid Universe and Daclify. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. Seth, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Evening, morning, afternoon. Yeah, all good. Busy.
Seth seems like he's really modest, but really like 5 minutes ago, he was busting my balls by saying, "Hey, Jimmy, GMT automatically is like 12 GMT is automatically noon, right?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know that." Yeah, I got told that, I need to memorize GMT time. So probably, that's something that you've done.
No, like we were confusing it recently also, like the time zones, and summertime and so on.
Right.
Crazy.
So yeah, like first off, what are your initial thoughts on Pomelo? You guys have been killing it for a long time over there in Boid, but you haven't really gotten any funding. Are you excited to be able to actually have a platform where you can,
Yeah, it's good that to have potentially some money to be able to do something more. Yeah, Pomelo looks really good. Like you can see that this is the first round, so there's quite a few projects already showing, and they're very interesting. And you can see that EOS is not dead; it's far from dead. You can see that if there's actually money involved, people are interested, to do stuff. If they have, if they can pay their bills and eat, they can create stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely far from dead. I'll definitely give you that. So let's dive into Daclify first, if you're okay.
Yeah. So the thing I wanted to say that's like I think Pomelo at some point it's not gonna be only EOS. I think it's like EOS IO in general.
It's not only EOS, actually. That was clarified for me. I didn't know that either until last night. But Daniel Key said probably a lot of the people will want to fund only EOS right now. But the way that it's been set up for this round, for this season, because the funding is actually coming from the EOS Network Foundation. But the guidelines for being on Pomelo for season one is that you will bring positive benefit to the EOS IO ecosystem. So right now, already, as long as you're coming from any of those like vantage points to bring positive benefit to the whole ecosystem, then you're okay. However, that said, Daniel did say probably a lot of the people in this first round will be heavy voting towards just EOS projects, just because that's where we are in the space right now. But yeah, totally already you can do that if you want to bring out a project on another blockchain, as long as it's beneficial to the EOSIO ecosystem.
Yeah, so Daclify, that's what it actually is, right? Because this is something that can work potentially on any EOSIO chain. And it's been working on EOS for somewhere around like a year. Pieces actually like almost done everything by himself with a little bit of help. But he got really frustrated because of lack of funding, and so so he kind of left it. But we've been using it, we've been using it for months and months, and we didn't really have any major issues. It needs quite a few things that can be improved, but it's really well designed. You can build modules on it, so you can, if you have an existing Daclify DAC deployed, you can just potentially get a developer and build a module connected to your DAC, and you're up and running. You don't have to redo the whole platform just to add a certain option. So for example, I was thinking to add Telos Decide. They have a really nice development going on Telos, and potentially Telos Decide could be just a module connected to Daclify. So there's many ideas, but obviously we need to actually spend some money to to have it implemented.
Yeah, so I actually am had the pleasure of sitting on a couple of DACs with you and a few other people as well, utilizing Daclify, and it just brings a lot of options, right? You can set up kind of tiers or different core teams, and there's a couple annoying things that I really hope you guys get funding to fix, to be honest. But nothing's perfect, and there's nothing really bad about it. But we've used other DAC structures as well, and this seems to be even though you said, it's not quite finished, it seems to be one of the most comprehensive out there, at least on the EOSIO space. So.
Yeah, and I think that the most important thing is that there's no cost to it in a way, because you deploy it and that's it. You can host your DAC on the UI on Netlify, for example, for free, literally for free, and all the rest is just smart contracts. So you need to make sure that you're just pointing to the right node, and you can potentially have few UIs deployed on different addresses, and each can point to a different nodes, and there's many ways to make it bulletproof if you want to. So I think that's very powerful. If you want a proper decentralized DAC platform, that's what it is. Other platforms that I saw, it's you need a token, additional token to do something, or maybe the way they implement it, it's so complex that you need to run additional servers, and you need to do a lot of stuff in the background just to make it work. And this one, just you set it up, it's in smart contracts, you have one UI, and it works. There's no issues with that.
Yeah, and there's a few projects who are using it already. I mean, you can see them here. Boid and Blockbase. A couple, Kronos, Vigor, Daclify. They've all kind of tested it out. They're not really full-fledged, full-on as some of these other ones might have been. But I know that when we ported over from a couple projects to Daclify and started using it, it's a pretty nice experience. There's some things that are confusing, the UI maybe might not be the same as other DACs, but again, it just allows you a lot more options for that. So I'm kind of excited to see what you guys do with it. If we just jump back kind of over here, so what exactly are the things that you want to I mean, you guys are doing all right? What exactly are the things that you want to improve about it?
So yeah, so for example, to try to gain more interest in the platform, I deployed it on Telos and Wax. Mm-hmm. Wax is actually the Wax site at the moment is being funded by MBlue and the Blue DAC. because they're trying to have it on Wax. So we've got one developer looking at it now, try to make sure that it's operational on different chains, than EOS, because there are some differences. So there is an elections module that was never tested and I think fully finished, which we need to work on. So in general, it's just updating the platform with the code to have it up to date, all the existing like UI and so on. What else? And finishing like what was already started. So the election modules. Oh yeah, Gary just put in a very good comment. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's very, very powerful. Like all the other, again, DAX solutions that we saw, like they heavily rely on history solutions. So yeah. So in general, it's just even like updating the platform, and whatever money that we have left after actually updating the platform and finishing the elections module, we would just put into creating new modules. And because this is gonna be like whatever changes we make, we'll just update it on every chain. So this is actually a change for EOS, Telos, Wax.
Yeah, so I have a question, because it seems like you were caught as much off guard by this as me, in terms of not really understanding that this was all EOS.io for this Pomelo thing. So my question is, like, right now, it's deployed on EOS only. Is there a cost to deploying it on other chains, or can that go?
Okay, so the way it works, like there is one smart contract which is like a hub that manages all the other, like it can manage all the other DACs in a way, but it doesn't have to. But the main purpose is to have this connection with the UI. So the UI actually connects to partially to that main smart contract, and then like I'm not gonna like probably go to too much detail.
No worries, yeah.
So yeah, like so the initial cost to actually deploy it on a different EOS.io chain is a lot of RAM, but that's only one smart contract. And then
very cool.
Every time when a new DAC shows up, they need to pay for the RAM. So they create their own account. We deploy the smart contract on that account, and that costs RAM. And that is the only cost, to be honest.
Yeah, that's really cool. And like Gary as well in the comments says, he also loves the payroll module. Myself too, like having used it, the way that you can set up the payroll module, like that actually goes through the tiers as well, and delimitates what funds go where and when they can be collected, and it's all pretty much automated once that initial thing is set up. So it's really cool. So I definitely recommend looking a little bit more into Daclify. You can see here on the proposal at the bottom, there's an actual dedicated channel, so you can go in and ask questions. But if you're interested in utilizing a DAC for your project, or you're interested in potentially even porting a DAC over to another chain, an EOS.io chain that doesn't have it as a project, this might be something that you want to support in your Pomelo wanderings, meanderings. I know for me, like we were talking about it last night, like I feel a little bit bad, like some of my friends' projects I've given like 2 or 3 EOS to, and I'm like, I feel like I'm cheap, but at the same time, there's so many good projects out there, and because of the way that this quadratic funding model works, just tossing in 2 or 3 EOS, to fund some development in projects like this that could essentially benefit every single project in the whole ecosystem, should they decide to utilize it, isn't a very bad idea in my opinion. So that's very cool. Daclify. That's the first one we wanted to go through today. The second one that you guys are, sorry, before I go on, is there anything else that you'd like to shout out about Daclify actually before we move on to the next one?
I think there was just one bit. So when the way you can manage your organization, the way you could do it is like you can have a main DAC and then child DACs in a way. So the child DACs would be managed by your main DAC. So like let's say you have your main government board, and then you would split it to like marketing department and so on and so on. So potentially each of your departments can actually be a separate DAC, which would be under control of the main DAC. So that's like another way to that you could potentially do it.
Yeah, and again, to like touch on that, like I think that's a really cool feature, because a lot of times, like on any of the decks that I've sat on, you've got all these people and they're all coming at it from different like places, and you have to sit in these meetings, and then you have to kind of like get everyone on the same page. Whereas actually what you could do is you can have like a tier-like system where everyone in marketing gets together, and then they decide what proposals they want to support or what they want to put forward in the child DAC, and then that can go on, and then they can the rest of the people can be informed and vote on it, like for the final kind of decision, right?
Yeah. So for example, potentially if we have this elections module finished, you could have, like, if you have few DACs for one organization, each DAC can have their own election modules configured in a different way. So you could have, this department does elections this way, this department does elections this way. So yeah.
I like it. And again, this is something that I think is going to be really cool add to the ecosystem, especially if it goes cross-chain. So the next one that we're going to talk about today, so that proposal was under your name. The next one that we're going to talk about today is the Boid Universe. Now, this is under John's name, but it is it is part of the really got to get that fixed. Sorry, it's part of the the Boid platform, and it's something that you guys have been working on for a really long time. And I actually had the pleasure of working on it with you guys. Until I was just so busy that I couldn't do it, and you guys replaced me, which I'm really happy about, because like that's the way that an organization should run, right? You don't wait around for people to do stuff. So I'm totally being 100% serious, right? Like I always feel like I want to try to support and help people as much as I can in the projects that I really believe in. But at the same time, you don't just want to leave people high and dry. And that's in a way the beauty of the DAC, because the Boid, as you saw earlier, it is part of this DAC, and they are using Daclify. And, when people become absent, like, you can take them off the payroll. There's no animosity. There's no anger behind it. It's just, let's move on with the project. And when people have time, they can come in and out and work on this. So with the Boid Universe, it's actually... so do you want to maybe explain it a little bit better than me if you want, but it's actually a collaborative project that is focused on play to earn. So there's two projects involved mainly, but yeah, it's a collaborative play to earn game, if you will. Yeah.
Well, it can be, the idea is that there's going to be a couple of games running at the same time, but all of what connects all of them is that we're creating this whole universe. There's actually there's going to be a whole story released, which was actually written by Connor, and it's the story is about this universe of this primitive intelligence. They're called the Boid Hyphids. And this, we're gonna have a lot of artwork going out, and this will connect with the Boid colonies concept. So each team will actually be this Boid colony that you will be able to build, expand upon, research, go through the universe, the Boid universe.
So maybe can we just stop there for a minute and take a step back, because there might be people out there that don't actually know what Boid is. So if we can just take a step back, because I think understanding this team aspect of it is really important. So when what is Boid, and what are Boid teams? Let's start there.
Yeah. So Boid is a decentralized app where by using your spare resources, you help to solve scientific issues. And at the moment, we've been working mainly with the World Community Grid. And like the projects that we have that we're working now is like there's Smash Childhood Cancer. There's mapping cancer markers. There was the Africa Rainfall Project, Help Stop TB, so tuberculosis, and there's Open Pandemics, which is the like it's research about the viruses, so including COVID-19. So when a person installs an app on their computer, it will just run in the background, and it will help to solve those issues.
Yeah, so basically
that's the main thing.
Basically, it allocates your spare GPU or CPU towards running these, Hive-like complicated mathematical problems, and looks into providing that data to everyone. Now, how does the Boid team concept play into this? Because Boid is divided with groups of people that are a bunch of teams, which kind of goes to the meaning of Boid, anyway, which I think is kind of cool. But like, how does the Boid team aspect play into, Boid as a project?
Well, with Boid teams, like the concept of Boid teams was created, I think, originally just to create a little bit of competition in a way. So the year. The Boid year will be divided into seasons, and each season there will be something that like there will be some reward set up that the winning team with the most power or like whatever you can think of in the future, like so the team will be rewarded with like some physical items or maybe NFTs and like so yeah. So that's the main thing that was originally, but now this is going to be expanded with this Boid Universe concept with Boid colonies, and also with Boid Void game. And the Boid Void game is this game where the teams is actually so the teams are used in the Boid Void game where you can actually fight with each other. On the hex field. So if you are part of the, Telos team, and you will be fighting the EOS team, for example, and you're just, fighting on this hex field using your Boid ships and so on. So all the Boid Void aspects of the game will be controlled by NFTs. So it depends what kind of NFT you have. You may have a small advantage over other players, but the main thing is that your Boid powered stake, which is also a concept taken from the original Boid, is that so when you process your information using your spare resources, you're rewarded with this thing called Boid power, and that Boid power can be you can become this Boid powered stake is when you stake your Boid tokens. You probably would have to go to the staking calculator to explain it a little bit better. You go to the app Boid.com and staking, like if you can go there now.
Sure, we can do that. What was that? One more time.
So app.boid.com /staking. Com.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because they Wombat has started to support Anchor recently.
Right.
So
yeah. I like Wombat, but it just keeps popping up. I gotta use like a different window or something.
Yeah. So there is this concept here. You can see it, max powered stake. So that value will actually be used in the Boid Void game for the battery for the ships. So if you're gonna have a higher power and more Boid staked, you will have more chance of winning in the Boid Void game. So that's actually going to be updated like every couple of hours in the game. So it will be live data from the blockchain.
And again, this is like the game is going to be based around teams, and the teams will try to work together to win the game. Now, can you explain so I guess when we look at the Boid app, what happens is you're rewarded for your contributions towards the network. It's a little bit more complex than this, but you can go to app.boid.com and you can read all about it, because we're not really going to focus on that today. But you're rewarded with a Boid token, for your efforts towards, contributing towards solving these complex algorithms. Now, when you guys are coming from the play to earn model with the Boid Universe, how is do you know, or are you releasing the reward structure? Like, how does that all kind of play into it? Because a big part of your proposal is to like support the building out of this kind of play to earn universe. So if you could maybe talk about that a little bit.
Well, we're gonna be releasing more details on the website soon. Like, I don't want to like give false information.
Sure, fair enough. Completely understandable. I totally
but
agree.
Everything is gonna be again based on NFTs. So like that, one of the important things is that we want to support users that were with us from the beginning. So the people which are holding the coins, like the Boid coin NFTs, they will be getting some, airdrops, definitely. And the rest you will be able to get through like playing the game and or just buying it, right? So the other thing is that there's going to be this like the whole economy, which will be in the Boid Universe, which is going to be like a set of resources that you can combine to do stuff, and this thing called Boid crystals, which are going to be very important. And Boid crystals, like, eventually you will be able to change to Boid tokens. So that's like where the play turn concept is coming in. It's like where you're going to play the game, you will be awarded with some NFTs, resources, and so on. And at the end, potentially, you could take it out and get some tokens, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and thanks, Gary, for answering in the comments, because I was going to bring that up too. But like, people were asking, will the scientific problems get solved in the background of the game? And the answer is, yes, because the power is the source of the game, so that will still continue to happen. There's a bunch of other connections as well, right? Like, in order to be part of the game, the Boid Void game, which you said is one of the things that's going to be part of this Boid universe, that you actually do have to be a member of the Boid app and log in. And but yeah, I'm kind of excited. Power. Yeah, and have Boid power, right? So I'm kind of excited to see how this all plays out. And again, like, come over to Pomelo and have a look. Have a look here.
Yeah, because so like the whole point of getting of building this Boid universe and so on is to get people more engaged in supplying this power, their CPU, GPU power. So like there's thousands and thousands of people potentially they could, make a difference. So that's the whole point.
Yeah, so just to go over a couple of things, they're what they're going to be using some of these funds for is, Boid Void is already underway. The alpha testing is already kind of, taking place at the moment. After the initial release of Boid Colony will follow. It's a multiplayer-based building economic simulation where players will collect and build various buildings in NFTs. To increase economic output, players can use the resources earned to exchange with other players for other needed materials on a live exchange. The price fluctuates and is dictated entirely by player supply and demand. Interesting that you guys are also having a proposal up there for a DAC. Some symmetry there. I like it. The game's goal is to expand and grow your colony and gain as much Boid crystal as possible. Boid colony will serve as the foundation for future milestones. Additional milestones will build directly on top of the Boid colony. The roadmap goes well into 2023 and beyond. And again, I think that really important thing to understand about this is, yes, it's a game, but it's a little bit more than a game, because the whole backdrop of the game is to still provide this spare GPU, this CPU, this Boid power towards, supporting the Boid ecosystem as it was designed to solve these complex mathematical problems and utilize, the platform in a sense to be able to do good for the world with all these spare resources that individuals or corporations or things have. So if you don't know very much about Boid, I definitely recommend that you go check it out. There's lots of information over on app.boid.com. You can do that. Like, full disclaimer, like, you should probably just go check out, where Jimmy D got his start with his voice on air as well, because like I used to do the Boidcast, which was super fun. So I'm a really big fan of this team and what you guys are doing. But just to put that out there. But I think what you guys are doing is trying to basically create a better world through technology and rewarding people through cryptocurrencies. And so I'm really excited to see Pomelo allow for projects like yourselves to be able to come out there and get some funding from some of the community that supported you all these years, and potentially new members who are excited about the possibilities as well. So
and of course new developers. Like,
new developers. Yeah.
Everyone needs developers now.
Exactly. Very cool. So like, the whole plan actually for these Pomelo pitch decks is to keep them short. If you're familiar with Jimmy D, like, potentially over on the Uplifters channel or on some of the crypto writer channels, that keeping it short is not necessarily my strong point. But apparently we're going to try to do that here today. So we're actually going to cut this one off right about now. But before we do that, actually, Seth, is there anything else that you'd like to say about these two proposals that are live right now on the Pomelo.io grant site?
No, I think we kind of covered most of it. But like, if anyone wants to join, help out, there's loads of ideas. We need people. So
yeah, actually, so that's a really good point, right? Like, the Boid Universe it is actually on, Boid is actually on Daclify. And so you guys are open to having like people collaborate and people come in. And if you're interested in what they're doing, all the links are down below in that Daclify proposal. So get in touch, go hang out in the Telegram. You can ask questions. And moreover, if you actually want to be part of the project, you can. It's not closed source. I've been a part of it in a past time. And I'd like to be a part of it again in the future. And it's a really welcoming group of people who, again, are just trying to make the world a little bit of a better place. So I definitely recommend, checking them out if that's what, strikes your interest. And they are pretty rockstar stellar team too when it comes to development and builders and community. And there's just a lot of things going on. One of the OG projects, I would say, that actually launched on EOS. You guys have been around for a long time, like almost since the beginning, I think. So just
I wasn't, but John was.
Yeah. So very cool. Great. I'm gonna be back tomorrow, my time. I don't know about your time. I'm just going with my time today. But yeah, I'm gonna be back tomorrow with the guys over from Liquid, with 2 eyes, well, 3 eyes really. But they're doing something really interesting with gaming, I believe. So they're going to come and join us on the next Pomelo pitch deck. in a few hours, maybe 24 or something. I don't know. Check the Twitter, where we put the tweets out about the times and stuff like that after I have time to schedule it. But yeah, thank you very much. If you haven't checked it out, please go over to the Gender EOS YouTube channel and check out the interview that I did last night with Daniel Keys about the whole Pomelo.io thing. There's a lot of really good topics that we covered and discussed and clarifications that we made. And definitely recommend watching that if you haven't yet, because there were some things that I even learned in that interview as well. So thank you all for joining us. And Seth, thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Jimmy.
From getting these funds and getting the projects to where they need to be, through this first round, at least until the second.
Thank you very much. See you.
See you guys later.